Welcome in, my possum brethren. We are Offensive Points on the Fantasy Six Pack channel. Today, we are doing a 2026 Fantasy Rookie Mock Draft, Dynasty content for all of your needs. Let's get it. All right. Hopefully you guys made your playoffs. If you didn't, your fantasy season's over. You should be looking towards Dynasty. If you have made your playoffs, you should be looking towards Dynasty because it's the best form of fantasy football. And we are here for a way too early dive into these rookies to do a fantasy mock draft.
You are not lying about way too early. I recognize some of these names. I know some of these words. Looking forward to jumping in. This is always really helpful for me once rookie mock draft season starts happening. For the rest of the Dynasty community, we start way too early. That's just what we do. We're always drafting and prepping. And I think it's mostly because Billy got eliminated from the playoffs in one of our leagues, and he's just really upset about it and wants to talk about some rookies. Talk about next year in Dynasty. I'm talking about integrity.
I mean, it's a little bit about it, but at the same time, I just like getting started a little early. College football season's for all intents and purposes over. I mean, there is the playoffs still, but the actual meat and potatoes of college football is over. So let's get some people some names. We're into the basically off season of college football, so we can start talking some dynasty names for rookies. And I think it's good to get a nice little amuse bouche. I think
it is in my veins.
It is college football off season. Coaches are getting fired, arrested, and all kinds of other stuff out there. So
yeah. That is true. Yeah, Michigan's coach Ron Moore decided that he's just gonna give it all up. I can't knock that. Maybe not the way he went out. That's probably not how I would do this, especially with the transfer portal opening in like a week and a half. So now you got to find a new coach, and you got to hope that all of the players that you have on the team and all the recruits that you have coming in are not going to decommit or transfer. But you know what? That's not our problem. That's a whole mess that Michigan's gonna have to figure out. That's for them to decide.
My Sharona.
I like it, Joe.
That's a good addition.
I haven't read the news.
I just had a little jab because it just happened, and I just read all about the story, and it just got more and more wild. So
it's a very bizarre story, and it's going to rock college football for a little while here. But without further ado, let's bring up the board for the mock draft. We're doing 3 rounds. We're going to preface all this by saying that, I'm just basing this on educated guesses on who the players are that are going to come out in the draft. There is a chance that some of these kids go back to school or, enter the transfer portal, so they're not actually going to get drafted this season. However, I'm 85% sure that everyone on this list is going to be available in your rookie mock drafts. Now, there could be some late guys who come on, but I think for the most part, we've got the names put in here that are going to be relevant for rookie mock drafts. So, without further ado, you guys ready for this?
Yeah, I guess my first question, because this is basically a learning experience for me here. Is there, since we're doing a Superflex mock draft, is there a quarterback worthy of the number 1 spot? Or are we looking more at a position player? Because I have an idea who my position player is number 1 overall, but don't know if there's a quarterback really worthy of that attention.
So this is kind of, for people, another thing for the audience. Joe and Josh are not huge into college football. I try my best. This is not a great quarterback college football class. It just isn't. I don't like. Last year was pretty rough. This year is looking rougher than that even. And Cam Ward went number 1 overall last year. I think we're going to probably maybe have a quarterback go number 1 overall this year, potentially 2, which I don't think is deserved. However, with the scarcity of the position and the amount of teams that need a quarterback, I think just, we're going to have a guy go. But I think we're kind of in a similar situation. And I think that this player that I think is going to go number 1 is probably not going to be worth picking 1 overall in a Superflex mock draft. I just don't think so. Next year, we have a whole different story. I think next year's quarterback class is pretty great. So I think we're going to have some really good quality come in. However, this year's draft is kind of a more defensive draft, wide receiver, not necessarily a lot of ones, but a lot of guys that are going to fill some spots. And a decent running back class, not like last year's, but I think it's still pretty good. So, yeah, it's just not a good quarterback class. So I don't think we're going to see a number 1 overall pick quarterback in this mock draft.
All right, well then, can I go ahead and make my first selection, or what I would say is the first selection we discussed?
Well, Josh, you can bring your person to the audience.
You're gonna lose me eventually, so let's start off hot. I'm feeling Jeremiyah Love as the number 1 overall, and I'm just assuming that we get to a good landing spot for him as well. But what he has done has been amazing. I actually know him, so that should say something.
Yep, from St. Louis originally before committing to Notre Dame. He's not as good as Ashton Genty's numbers were last year. However, I do think he is that kind of explosive runner. He's definitely a guy that can do a lot of what a team needs to do. I'm interested to see where he goes in the draft. A lot of people are not mocking him. If he is getting in the first round mocks, he's in like the 20s as opposed to where Genty ended up going. So I'm interested to see where he ends up. However, you're right. He's the best running back in this class. I think he's an easy round 1 pick 1 for any fantasy team.
Joe, any rebuttals here?
Yeah, I'm working on our timestamps over here, so I'm a little
excited.
But Jeremiyah Love is awesome, and yeah, he's going to be a stud for your fantasy football team. I've watched a lot of his tape. He reminds me of a smaller Saquon Barkley. I mean, everything this dude does looks explosive. I totally agree with it.
Let's put him on the board then.
Boom. All right, pick one. Let's not overthink it. It's Jeremiyah Love. Yeah. So moving on to pick number 2. Now here is where I think we dip into the wide receiver pool a little bit. I think there's going to be a lot of arguments between Carnell Tate and Jordyn Tyson. Look, Tyson has been banged up a lot this year for Arizona State. However, he is the best wide receiver prospect. So if I had to pick, I would pick Jordyn Tyson. I think he's going to be the first wide receiver taken. I think he's potentially a top 7 actual NFL draft pick. So I think that he's going to get the nod. But I understand the Ohio State, factory of wide receivers. It's kind of not hard to knock it at this point.
That's fair. And this is going to depend on landing spots. But at the same time, we thought Egbuka was a wash, and he ended up being, while due to injury mostly, ended up being wide receiver 1 for a long time. So, yeah, I'm cool with going with the odd pick, as you say, with Tyson.
I don't think it's an odd pick. I mean, he's absolutely electric when he gets the ball. It's the injuries that are a little worrisome because he had the whole knee blowout earlier in his career too. A little bit beat up.
Will he be healthy going into the draft?
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry.
Yes.
Just want to clarify.
Yeah. I mean, he looks awesome. I mean, a lot of people I've seen CeeDee Lamb thrown around as a comp for him, Justin Jefferson. He reminds me more like a T. Higgins type. I had George Pickens and T. Higgins kind of as comps for him. I don't think he's quite at the level of a CeeDee Lamb or Justin Jefferson.
Yeah, I agree with that. Also being 6'2" is very helpful. It gets us out of this 6'1" slump that some of these guys fall into.
This is a tall draft class.
You are not wrong. That is very helpful for us. With him.
So the Panthers are getting another tall wide receiver. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, probably.
Their wide receiver room is all 6'3" and above, which is wild. Maybe it's by design. I don't know.
It might be by design. Yeah. So Jordyn Tyson, second pick on the board. Third pick, I think that this is where we go with the Ohio State kid. We go with Carnell Tate. He's been across from Jeremiah Smith this year. Jeremiah Smith's probably going to be arguing, an argument for being the number 1 pick in next year's rookie mock draft. So that's going to be interesting to talk about then. But Carnell Tate has been stride for stride with him this whole season. And where a lot of people thought it was going to be the Jeremiah Smith show all year, Carnell Tate has made his name known as well. And I just think with the stats he's put up, with what he's been able to show and accomplish, he was just as highly touted. I think he was a 5-star prospect as well, a wide receiver when he came in. So I think him being just a guy that you can throw into any offense and be maybe second banana, maybe not a first banana, like Emeka Egbuka was kind of to Mike Evans. I think if you do that with Carnell Tate, I think you're hitting on all cylinders there.
All right, I got one issue with this draft so far. We don't know if Arch Manning is going to declare for the NFL draft at the moment, at least, from my understanding.
No way in hell.
He could be the number one quarterback drafted just by namesake alone.
You're not wrong, and a lot of people have made that argument. Well, Josh, I've watched him play football. Like he's had six good games. Well, there's been a lot where you're like, okay, this kid does not get it, but he has come on late in the season. I won't knock him there. He has looked a lot better towards the end of the season. But I just feel like you have 6 good games of tape. I don't know if that's.
If
worth coming.
If a team that makes him feel like, oh yeah, I could be the leader of that franchise ends up number 1 overall. Does he make that decision? You know what I mean? Like, what if he wants to go to the Raiders with Genty? Like, somehow the Raiders end up with the number 1 pick. Oh, there's conversation there. And then
I don't know. I can't do it. I also think LaNorris Sellers, who we're probably going to talk about here in a little bit, also shouldn't come out for the draft, but he might as well. He's been awful this year. He should have. I don't know. I don't know what he could have done. He was just not good. But I don't know. I think Arch's plan has always been to play one more year. I'm pretty sure his family has also said
probably smart
to play one more season as well. So that's why he's not getting a lot talked about there.
Just saying it's a possibility.
Okay. It is a possibility.
We say just like how awesome Carnell Tate's going to be for a team. Billy, I think you're right. He is a number 2. I don't think he's going to be a number 1, but the hands on this dude are ridiculous. The route running's ridiculous. He reminds me, Josh, I know you hate comps, but he reminds me of a slower. Sorry, what was my comp here for him? A faster Vincent Jackson. I knew it was one of them. He's a faster Vincent Jackson. I loved watching Vincent Jackson play, and he gives me just like Vincent Jackson vibes.
As long as you don't say Tyreek Hill, I think Josh is okay with the comp.
You have comped every single player so far, so it was actually something I've been thinking about. But you're right, Billy. It's the Tyreek Hill comparison that honestly I just feel like they've cursed so many football players by calling him the next Tyreek Hill.
Xavier Worthy was the last one.
I just want to share my technique for the listeners out there.
I do comp. John Ross.
I watch these guys and I comp them. That is kind of my initial start into this whole process.
Joe, we all got a process, man. I just wait until you guys tell me who's good, then I go do my own independent research.
I was just sharing what works for me to our listening audience because I don't know. It's got me this far. I'm pretty happy.
No, absolutely not. All right. I'm just saying this is a super flex draft. So is there another player that is absolutely has to go before quarterbacks? Because quarterbacks are going to go off the board at this point.
They might. I still think I wouldn't pick one yet if I was on the board, but I mean, people can do that if they want. I think we're headed back to the running back pool at this point. And this is where we kind of have a group of guys that I wouldn't mind seeing here. Jonah Coleman, Nicholas Singleton from Penn State could be an option, or Justice Haynes potentially, even though he's been a little hurt as well. We also have first-round wide receivers that are going to still be available here too, like Makai Lemon is going to be a guy, which I love the name Makai Lemon, so I can't wait for that. But at the same time, it might just be Fernando Mendoza. I think he's going to be the number 1 overall pick in the draft, so I can't remember when Cam Ward went this year. Do you guys remember at all in rookie drafts? But it was about pick 4. Superflex in a Superflex.
Yeah, because you had Genty and then Genty, McMillan, and who was the other guy? Travion got up there.
Travion and Judkins were around that area too. But Omar and Hampton, Genty, and Tet was questionable. Tet went actually pretty late in most drafts. People did not believe in Tet.
Later in the season, he got up to 2 and 3. But
yeah, he did. I'd say that Cam Ward probably. I have not done any super flexes, but I'm just assuming from my dynasty drafts that he'd probably be in the 4 or 5 spot. So we're having the conversation right now. I do have one question because we mentioned some of these running backs. What happened to Nick Singleton this year? I didn't watch much of Penn State ball, but he was highly touted as one of the top 5 running backs in drafts, and now he kind of fell off after his shaky season. He played most of his games.
Yeah, so Penn State had what we consider a disaster season. I honestly, him and Kaytron Allen both said they were going to come back this year because they were going to win a championship. and everything just went train off the rails. Coach gets fired. Drew Aller, who's maybe a quarterback we'd be talking about right now, tore his ACL after having a shit season to begin with. So the wheels just came off of the train. He didn't have a really bad season, but just compared to what we thought he was going to do, I thought he was going to be argument with Jeremiyah Love for being the best running back, but he's not. I still think he's going to be drafted in the first round because he has second-round running back written all over him, potential guy to fight for a starter spot. But I mean, it's just not going to be. I don't think he's going to get drafted in the first round. So I don't know. I think maybe we just go quarterback here because Superflex number 1 overall pick is probably going to be a quarterback. I think we just got to go with him.
Yeah, and Mendoza's guaranteed a starting job. He's
Doesn't
shown that
Mendoza
he can run, he can throw a good ball. So I think he has a high upside, but I mean, obviously not as high as we've seen in the past.
Fair enough. I don't know enough about some of these other quarterbacks like Sellers or.
So Sellers is going to be an interesting one because if Sellers is who we thought he was going to be, then he would be an argument up here with right after Fernando Mendoza. However, this year he was horrible. The accuracy completely fell off from what we saw the year before. His running chops weren't really a thing this year where he was a very, very mobile quarterback. He kind of looked like Anthony Richardson, but a little bit better last year. But this year, no. Well, it was the better version of him though.
Oh,
but yeah, well, there you go. Yeah. But the better version of that. However, this year where everybody thought he was going to go from just better than Anthony Richardson to accelerate, the elevated version, he didn't. And just completely went all the way down. So I do think he's going to get taken. Him going in the first round would be an all-time mistake from a team. So it's hard for me to put him in the first round of this mock draft. However, he could eventually, I think he might get drafted in the second or third round and could push for a spot. But I don't know. Again, quarterbacks are going to get real interesting this season because a lot of teams need a quarterback and there's just not a lot to go around right now.
Yeah, that kind of seems to be the case every year. Is Lemon really good or is Maeva just really good? Or vice versa, I guess.
In my opinion, Lemon is really good. My next pick would be Makai Lemon. I think he's going to get drafted about 15 or 16 in this draft in the first round. So I think that he's just naturally going to be the next pick. And he's just a really solid player. I don't know, Joe, if you've seen any Lemon, but first of all, love the name. Second of all, I think I like this kid.
The name's fantastic. And yeah, he's always open. He's one of those guys. He kind of reminds me of a stouter Josh Downs type player.
Okay.
He really does.
I mean, down, or are you just pulling these out?
I write them down as I watch the tape, and then I, get my initial reaction to what I see. And I see a lot of Josh Downs in his game. He's always open. He's going to get a bunch of separation. Definitely going to be a good PPR guy. So I could see him be the depending on who drafts him, though.
Let's put the Lemon up on the board,
Hopefully he's not a lemon.
Well, he can't be. It kind of cancels it out with his name because he's I am a lemon, so it doesn't matter.
Maybe.
We'll see. I'm just thinking from draft perspectives, this is where another running back or quarterback would go. Not sure if any are worth the risk. I mean, we're looking at a lot of day two running backs, I should say. Sure, there will be too many quarterbacks drafted. We can talk about it now where Billy says only one quarterback deserves to be drafted in the first round. We'll have 3. I mean, you can just go ahead and book that. But running backs,
Ty Simpson will get drafted in the first round, I believe, of this draft. Although I think he has a pretty bad back injury that nobody's talking about right now. Literally, you will have to scramble to find news about this injury. But he has just not looked the same in a little while. So I think he will be drafted in the first round. So at some point in this first round, we're going to have to get to him. But I don't know. I just think this wide receiver class might be a little stronger than we're giving it credit for. And I think that some of these guys need to be taken. So is this going to be one of the week before draft, we get a breaking news that Ty Simpson has I don't know, a hernia or broken back or some shit? We're going to find out I think we're going to find out right before the combine. I truly believe that because I guarantee he's going to accept a Senior Bowl bid. And then when he doesn't play or anything, that's going to be kind of like, oh, well, that's interesting. I wonder what's going on there. And then right before the combine, which is after that, then it's going to be, he's not going to throw this week. He's not going to do any of the workouts.
Isn't Ty Simpson playing in 9 days right now against your team?
Josh, there you go. There is the conspiracy theory right there. What is going to happen? Is he going to play against Oklahoma or not? I don't know. Because this injury, if he gets hit, like, again, probably going to be a whole lot worse, but at the same time, he doesn't want to let his team down. I don't know. We'll see about that, but I do think he's going to get drafted in the first round, so I do think we're going to have to talk about him. Joe, do you have any more? I love these comps that you're throwing out. Do you have any guys you want to go 6th pick here that you have a comp for?
I have, well, not so much a comp as much, but just watching the little bit of tape that I have, I love LeVeon Moss out of Texas A&M. And I love Emmett Johnson out of Nebraska. I think those are 2 guys that we're going to see kind of move up the boards here. I mean, Le'Veon Moss, he's shifty, catches the shit out of the ball. He looks really good doing that. So I could see him being a guy that's very fantasy relevant, depending on the landing spot come draft season. So I'm going to go Le'Veon Moss. Feel free to veto it, but I love the way this kid plays.
Is he more sane than the other Le'Veon? I just wanted for historical.
I have no idea, but I will.
As far as I
jump
know,
on the train of historic Le'Veons of awesome.
I don't know any other Le'Veon, so that's why I just have to have the question.
You know what, Joe? This is a churocracy. We can go Le'Veon Moss. I don't know if that's going to happen, but you know what? We're here to let everyone have a say. So I'm down. We can put Le'Veon Moss in there.
Hey man, he might be something. I'm drafting him just on the off chance that Joe's right, because it seems like one of those things that he's right about. I don't know why, but we'll see. We'll see what happens.
It's been a real mixed bag out of Texas A&M. We have Devon Achane, who has gone bananas and just been amazing. And then on the opposite side of the coin, we had what's that guy that got
Isaiah Spiller
by the Chargers? Isaiah Spiller, yeah. The Isaiah Spiller story, which is the complete opposite side of the coin from Devon Achane. Le'Veon Moss is a really good running back, though. I do think he's definitely goal line work. He's going to have solid production there. And, I mean, he's going to be able to ball out in this college football playoff, and I think his name's going to go up there, Joe. So I don't hate the pick because he is going to be playing on a big stage here coming very soon against Miami. So I do think that this is a solid pick because, you know, by the time we get to March, he'll be a name. He will be a name. That is true.
All right. I'm not saying that this should be the next pick, but I'm curious because I've seen him mocked in first rounds of rookie drafts, and Jadarian Price in Notre Dame as well. Was he spelling? I mean, was this one of those? Is this one of those Henderson Judkins type situations, or is this like he's just never had a full opportunity, so we think that he's really good?
It's a Henderson Judkins situation. I don't know if either of these guys, him or Haynes, are necessarily on the same level as those two. However, that is what the situation was. Haynes did get hurt midway through, so it was pretty much the Price show from then on. Michigan was a really heavy run team this whole season, so like these two also got to just run behind it.
I thought he was on Notre Dame. I think he's on Notre Dame with our
you are right with Jeremiah Love.
That's why I was confused about. I've seen 2 Notre Dame draft picks in the same, and I'm like sitting here like, is he just good in the backup, or I don't know. I'm a little concerned.
You are correct. I'm looking at a different person. However, you're right. Him and Jeremiah Love. Jeremiah Love's clearly the one. Jadarian Price got to come in cleanup time, but you know sometimes you get stuck behind. You know,
oh yeah, I mean I can completely see that. That's why I'm just curious if I'm missing something that other people are seeing, or if that's just more of like a we know he's good, he doesn't need the reps kind of thing.
More likely that. I mean, he would be a solid take right here at pick 7. Like I definitely could see that 100%. Like he is that good.
Do you think he's going to be a 3-down guy though?
That I don't know.
Like Joe,
I feel like he's more probably change of pace. So that's what kind of scares me a little bit. Of the running backs available, I would probably go with our guy, Nicholas Singleton. I just still believe in what I watched from him from Penn State for 4 years. And so like, I'm going to take this year with more grain of salt and just say that the last two seasons that he's gotten to show out that is the guy that we're actually drafting when push comes to shove. So my pick would be Singleton here.
The fact that he got to stay healthy throughout this as well is great because I mean a lot of times you see a bad senior season and it's due to injury. So I'm good with Singleton, honestly. I just from what I've seen from him in the past, I assumed he would be higher than this even. So
yeah, we can do Singleton. I mean, Penn State's hit rate on running backs has just been insane. So, I mean, they also good lineage coming from that group as well. All right, Joe, you have anything more, or you want to? I just love these notes that you have. Other than Emmett Johnson, do you have anything more, or?
We can go Casey Concepcion, man. He's going to be kind of a PPR guy. Looking at him, he kind of reminds me of Lemon in a way.
Yeah.
Kind of how he plays, but he's
2 Josh Downs in this draft.
Essentially the same. No, I think he's more Jarvis Landry. I will say that was my note for him.
I love this. I've loved Casey since he was Kevin, because he went by Kevin when he was at North Carolina State, I believe. And he was Kevin Concepcion, and then he got transfer portaled because Texas A&M went and dropped a big bag of money on his porch, and then he became KC Concepcion. And look, he has been an amazing receiver since he was a freshman. So I've always seen this kid coming, and I think that, I think it's a solid pick right here.
In the spirit of the holidays, do you think he's going to change his name before the combine to Immaculate Concepcion?
That would be a great name change.
He'd be 101 if he does change it.
I do love that KC, I'm pretty sure, is just short for Kevin Concepcion, but like he changed it to KC, and now it's KC Concepcion, where it's like that's just your KC is your first name and last name. You don't have to go by whatever.
He's just trying to get Andy Reid's attention.
Hey man, it's his nickname. Just let it go.
Yeah, I know. I guess I just need to let that one go. Okay. Next one on my list here, I will pick up because I think he is going to have a strong end of the season here is we'll go Elijah Sarratt. I think what he's done at Indiana, he's really propped up Fernando Mendoza into the guy that he, the Heisman winning quarterback I believe he's going to be this time next week. Him and Omar Cooper have just transcended, and I think that he's going to be a solid pick in drafts. I think I'm interested to see where he goes in NFL drafts. As most of these guys will have to see where his landing spot is, but I just like what he has done in elevating this offense, and I don't think you can go wrong with him. I think he's going to show out in this college football playoff, and I think he's going to be getting a lot of buzz after that.
It is the one I selected, correct?
Yes.
Okay, just making sure.
When you watch those Indiana games, man, he really separates himself. Him and Cooper are fun to watch. They 100% are getting Mendoza into the first round. That'd be cool if the team that drafts Mendoza could somehow land Sarratt or Cooper. But, yeah, I like it. You want to hear my comp for him, Josh?
I sure do.
Michael Pittman.
Man, a lot of Colts.
Michael Pittman.
A lot of Colts comps in the first.
I have one other Colts comp.
I love that. I hope it's Phillip Rivers.
Yeah, it could be. Some of these quarterbacks.
He's just
Arch Manning. 44-year-old Phillip Rivers.
But 34-year-old is what the comp is about. That's what matters. Okay, so I know you said something about Boston earlier. Do you want to explain why we're not going to draft Denzel Boston here?
Well, honestly, he'd be my next pick. My only issue is that I feel like he's going to be like a jump ball specialist at the next level, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. But I mean, if he ends up on a team that needs a wide receiver, I think he's going to be a guy that you can throw the ball up to. He's 6'4", he's massive. Like he's got the frame to do anything that you need to do, and he's a pretty good route runner at that. I just is he game changing? I don't necessarily know. I think he's going to be a really good team or a good guy. I just don't know if I think he's going to be a 1. But at the same time, you can do Devontae Adams things and just catch touchdowns from the 1-yard line. That still gets you points in the NFL. And
no, I get what you're saying though. Those jump ball guys that we, hope and pray for just because they're big, it usually does not work out. Now we have had some.
Well, AD Mitchell's kind of proven that. However, he has kind of come on with the Jets a little bit. However, what we thought he was going to do with the Colts, he hasn't necessarily did there, but he has shown some things with the Jets. Kind of a similar situation. Although I think Boston's better than AD Mitchell. I really believe that.
I didn't realize.
Is Boston going to burn me like Miles Boykin did?
No, he's not going to burn you.
I was all about the 6'4" receiver coming out of Notre Dame.
I don't think he's going to burn you like that.
My note on Denzel Boston, Billy, is George Pickens out of the circus.
That is amazing.
Like no circus catches, but he's George Pickens. He's George Pickens on the Steelers when he quits, and like we saw last week with the Cowboys.
So still a good receiver. So are we gonna act like Boston's getting drafted? Because I think you said that he was going to be.
Yep. Boston it is. Boston it is.
Let me get the next one because I'm obsessed with this dude.
I bet I know where you're headed, and I also agree. If Joe goes who I think he's going to go, we can do quarterback next.
Okay.
Go, Joe.
Okay. We go Kenyon Sadiq out of Oregon. He's a little small for a tight end, but the dude is absolutely electric.
See, I've worried less about it recently because it seems like some of these teams are just drafting these guys to be receiving tight ends. Like they're not even worried about necessarily whether you could be good run blocking, pass blocking. It's a nice attribute to have. However, we've got a different guy for that. We'll just bring you in and you can just be really good as a receiving tight end. And I think you're right on the money here with Sadiq being that. Well, even if he's a little small.
Yeah, I'm going to be drafting the hell out of him if I have any first-round picks next year.
A lot of tight ends that people, see that are drafted late in rounds and stuff, and they're like, oh, well, I'm going to draft him because I need a tight end, and in fantasy that is. And they end up just being blocking tight ends, and probably should do a little more research before you draft some of those. So this is not that guy. So I like it, Joe.
Well, wasn't Fannin – thanks, Josh. Wasn't Fannin undersized too, kind of?
Yeah, I'm pretty positive he was. Pretty positive
a lot of people.
Was.
Fannin, I mean, there's a lot of good rookie tight ends this 2025 season. So, Gadsden wasn't even on anyone's board. Gunnar Helm, another one who's been kind of coming quietly doing some stuff. So, got options out there.
I really hope he ends up with the Bucs. They need an upgraded tight end, and I just feel like they need a Sadiq or someone like him to be a part. But we'll see. The Bucs never do what I think they're going to do, so who knows? It would be shocking if they went offense again after last year. There you go. Okay, sure. That's another option. Definitely another option.
They're locked in with
last pick. All
right, QB.
They're not locked in with K-Dot. They do not like that kid. QB is going to be Ty Simpson. Let's just pick him.
Okay.
The only thing I want to preface it by saying is that I don't know if Ty Simpson is going to declare for the draft. He does only have, I think, like one season of starts. Maybe he started a couple of games last season. I don't think he even did then.
It didn't.
So I don't think he has that many starts under his belt. Jalen Milroe was the starter, but he may have played some games if Milroe was out. So I don't necessarily know for a fact he's going to come out in the draft, but at the same time, if he does, he's going to get picked in the first round. So I do think that this is just a natural fit here to pick in the first round of a Superflex draft.
Alabama quarterback.
So I haven't watched any of Simpson outside of watching the games that they play, but Bleacher Report has Tony Romo as a comp to Ty Simpson. Is that remotely in the same world?
Remotely.
That was actually a really good wordplay there. I could see that. That's we could do that. That's good. I like that comp.
Okay.
That's pretty solid. Ty Simpson throws a really pretty ball. My biggest concern for him is that he gets extremely flustered under pressure. I literally watched him in person when he played Oklahoma this season, and their pass rush was just, he couldn't figure it out. And that was, you could see as the game went on, it was getting more and more concerning. But Alabama also has zero run game. Literally in the SEC championship, they ran for -3 yards. The three of us ran for more yards than Alabama did in the SEC championship. We were sitting on our couch. So that's also a problem for him because he can't even rely on that side of or that piece at all. So that's probably part of the problem. But he's an okay quarterback. I think he should come out now and not wait till next year's, where there's going to be like 5 good quarterbacks you're going to have to be fighting with to get into the draft. And you're potentially just, making your stock go straight down if you wait till next season.
Good point. I have a name that hasn't been brought up yet, and I was just curious about your guys' thoughts or Joe's comps. Chris Bell from Louisville. Any positive, negative?
So, I mean, as we were talking before, the literally Adam Schefter just put out that he had a clean tear of his ACL about 2 weeks ago. So he's definitely going to be out for all the pre-draft. And I mean, we're going to hope and pray that he can be back to start next season. However, he's a great wide receiver. I think you could probably get him later and feel more comfortable with it than taking him early because he's just going to be hurt. And literally it happened. This got announced after everyone put out their mock drafts for the day. So literally anybody's mock draft for tomorrow will probably not have Chris Bell in the first round, whereas it would have been there now. So I think we're just going to have to wait on him, sadly. I mean, not his fault, just that's what happened.
Well, I didn't know that, so I'm glad I asked.
Where would you be targeting him? Is that a late second? Because
I would say late second. I would say late second because the thing is, you're probably not going to get a whole lot of production out of him this next season. But I mean, the season after that, you definitely could see something to that effect, I think. My next pick here, let's just go first pick in the second round. We're going to go to Chris Brazzell from Tennessee. Literally, the New Orleans Saints just shipped out their deep threat and Rashid Shaheed. So I think Brazzell is kind of exactly the guy that they need to come in there and fill that same exact role. I think he's going to would be a dynamic playmaker. I'm getting less and less worried about the Saints at quarterback. Chuck has actually looked pretty good these last couple of games. I don't know if it's the Spencer Rattler effect because Spencer Rattler also looked pretty good for a couple of games last season. And we were like, oh, maybe he could do it. I don't know. And then he couldn't. Maybe that's what's happening with Chuck. But I thought he looked pretty dang solid versus the Bucs. I thought he looked great. It wasn't his fault. And then Miami the week before, I was like, this kid looks pretty dang good. These passes are pretty solid.
Yeah, depending on the way he finishes the season, I think he's earned the start next year just to see what they have because they have so much to figure out. They're not going to rebuild this team quickly at all. So see what you got in them.
This is not a quarterback draft. So literally if you're banking on, we suck at quarterback, we need to grab one this year, you're kind of SOL. You just are. What are we talking about? Ty Simpson might go back to school. LaNorris Sellers, who we're going to get to in a minute, also probably going back to school. So we're talking further down the list of these guys here, and it's just not great. However, next year, again, solid quarterback class. We just maybe need to hold out.
Billy, I like your pick on Chris Brazzell because he's another one of these physical freak wide receivers that are coming out. Now, Tennessee does run a weird offense that we've gotten burned by a lot in the past. Jalen Wright actually looked pretty good last week. But Chris Brazzell is awesome. My comp for him, he's Alshon Jeffrey. That is who he is as a player.
Wow. Okay.
I don't know if that's a ceiling comp by far, but that is the
I was about to say, man, that's a hopeful comp right there. But yeah, best case scenario, yeah, that's true.
All right,
I've been a little down.
I thought, Josh, I really thought you were looking something to say something there, but okay.
Yeah, you were. You leaned into the camera and everything.
It did. He got his serious face on, so I was
I'm actually just struggling to breathe. I've had congestion the last 5 days, so I'm trying not to breathe into the mic too heavy.
Don't be a bummer.
We'll take it from there, I guess. I think I want to go back to the wide receiver pool one more time before we move on to a different position. I want to grab Germie Benard from Alabama. He is the last of that wide receiver trio that was really solid in that national championship game. Where it had Joe's guy, Rome Odunze, Jalen Polk. Germie Benard was a part of that group as well with Michael Penix. He's been really good with Alabama. They've been able to use him everywhere on the field. I just really like that he can be added in to do anything on the offense. He's not necessarily a one position kind of guy. You can play him wherever you want. I just think that's going to be a very solid pick to put with whatever offense he goes to.
That's how you say his name?
It's actually
Jeremy?
misspelled. I was just trying to fix it. It's Bernard.
No, I was calling him Germie.
Jeremy?
Oh, no.
Jeremy. Okay. Sorry, Jeremy, if you're listening.
Jeremy?
Yep.
I can't go back either. It's too late. It's misspelled. All right, I have a pick here, and I may be way off base here, and this person may have torn their ACL yesterday as well. Dante Moore.
Okay. I love Dante Moore. From Oregon.
I've seen him mocked highly in NFL drafts. At least. I don't know.
And
it matters.
This is kind of the same situation I feel with Ty Simpson. Everyone, this is his first year starting. He's looked amazing for Oregon this season. I think he should be. I think he should come out right now. I think he could be the second best quarterback in this draft class if somebody just gives him the chance to be. It's just, I don't know. I feel like this year is just really weird with these guys that are on their first year of starting. I just don't know what that looks like. However, you're right. If Dante Moore comes out, I do think you're right. I think he should be drafted up here highly.
Ironically enough, I saw him mocked to the Browns, which doesn't make. Please don't do that. Let's just stop adding quarterbacks to that team.
No,
but
fix the rest.
Let's do it.
Rest of the offense.
If he's going to be, and that might just be one of those guys who ends up getting bid on way too early. Quarterbacks are desperate at this point for a lot of teams in that bottom 10. So I feel like who knows what will happen.
Yeah. I do think we should take Jadarian Price here. We kind of mentioned him earlier when we were talking about the next running back to take. I think he's a solid guy to add to this running back. I just hope he doesn't get put in like Washington, for example. Like, I think he needs room to actually run and not this conglomerate of nonsense on a team like that. I think he needs to be a guy where we actually just give him the full reins because he never really had it in college and just let him work. I think that's the smartest thing to do because I don't want to see him get put with, like I said, Washington, the mess in New England, the mess with the Buccaneers. Like, I just put him on a team where he can actually flourish. I think would be really solid for him.
It'll be fun when we do our team needs draft because there are some teams that desperately need running backs, and we're starting to see these teams that went with this multiple back theory, and now they have two good ones. So it's kind of like some teams desperately need a quarter or a running back, and then some don't need it at all. So hopefully he doesn't end up at a place like Seattle or Washington, like you said.
I don't know if I think Washington needs a new crop of 3 running backs is what they need. But
yeah, I agree with that.
Okay, I'm good with that. Joe, is it time for your boy? Was it Emmett Johnson? Are we not doing that yet?
Yeah, Emmett Johnson from Nebraska, 5'11", 200. I mean, he's kind of like a 3-down back. I mean, that's where they're using him. He could project that way in the NFL. And my comp for him is another Colt. I'm glad you brought it up. A smaller and slower Jonathan Taylor. But I love the way this kid plays.
To be fair, I feel like a lot of these bigger, like bruiser running backs, like Genty, Jonathan Taylor, some of these Saquon for that matter, was never regarded as a speed running back, and then they have that breakaway ability whenever it comes to it. Like I don't know.
He definitely has that breakaway. I mean, he busts off long runs quite a bit. Could be the competition he's facing. I'm not really sure, but I like watching him play. He seems to find the hole and he goes once he gets it. So I like his vision.
It's hard to tell in college because I mean, like we've seen Ashton Genty just blow teams out of the water, but he was playing, Division II teams and kind of not the best schedule, and then now he's in the NFL. And well, I can't say it's all him. That offensive line sure isn't helping. He's definitely having a little bit more of a problem finding those holes. So we'll see. But I like Emmett Johnson. I feel like we talked about him.
It's crazy when they put up the stat for Ashton Genty that like all of his runs start like the first point of contact was like -3 yards, and that's just where he got touched before he even got to the back to the line of scrimmage each game, which is just like it's horrific to see.
I'm interested to see what Kenny Pickett does because I mean it was the end of the game, but he actually looked pretty good coming in for them, and hopefully we can get Genty some more open lanes here.
Kenny Pickett should be solid. I don't know why they don't just give him a chance. Well, Joe, that is true. I don't know why we're just waiting and seeing what happens, but whatever.
Hey, Kenny Pickett's going to have himself a fun day next week, so
probably so. Let's go on back to tight end. I think we should grab Eli Stowers here for Vanderbilt. He is just an incredible pass-catching tight end, and I really think that we're going to have to he's not getting mock draft very high. I like even in like the 3-round mocks, quote unquote, I haven't seen him drafted that high, but he just I don't know, hasn't been. But I think he's going to be because of what he's done for Vanderbilt this season. That offense has run through him as a tight end, and some of these offenses that run through tight ends that bodes well for them in the NFL. So I think that he could just be the next guy in that one. Now I don't think we're going to have our tight end one that's going to come in and immediately be tight end one in fantasy. But if it was going to be anyone, I think Stowers would be the guy.
Hey, we've said it the last couple of years, and we could have 3 back-to-back years if Warren has a resurgence here, or even Fannin for that matter. Maybe not Fannin.
I'm not comping anyone else to the Colts, Josh. So
I wasn't comping him. I was just saying we could.
I know. I was just kidding.
Laporta, Bowers, Warren's still in the conversation. I really guess it's really Warren at this point has to do it.
Loveland's stats are creeping up on Warren here.
Loveland's fun, man. I would love to see him actually be fully utilized, but here we are.
The Bears are okay. We don't need to get into that.
No, we're getting
the Bears have been fun.
Not fantasy wise. It's actually really
not fantasy wise. The games themselves have been fun. They're fun to watch. Not fantasy wise. I am out on the Bears next season. I don't want any part of that mess. But they're a fun team to watch.
I kind of said this too, but honestly, let's back to the draft. This is way more
it's not
fun.
A fantasy team. It's just a football team. All right. We have a couple different options at wide receiver here. They're kind of all in the same bucket. Ian Strong for Rutgers, Eric Singleton from Auburn, and Jacoby Lane for USC are kind of like the next 3 I have on my list. Again, they all kind of are going to be in that 2nd to 3rd round wide receiver territory. All provide really useful things. Eric Singleton's probably my favorite. He's been on some terrible Auburn teams these past couple of years. And then he came from Georgia Tech, which also not a passing team. But I just really like his hands, and I really think he's going to be a possession wide receiver in the vein of like Chris Godwin. And I think he's going to be the guy that you throw to get, you need 6, he's going to get you 7. And I think that's going to be the kind of guy he is. For PPR, I think he's going to be a monster.
I'm cool, Singleton. Actually, it's the 7 slot, so someone's drafting double Singletons.
That is not at all what I had planned to do, but that's kind of funny. Yeah,
feels right.
A couple Singletons cutting it up on number 7 there. That's funny. All right, Joe, do you have anybody else in your plethora of guys?
I want to pick your brain on someone.
All right.
Darian Mensah from Duke. Have you watched any Duke this year?
Of course I've watched Duke this year. They just won the ACC championship, Joe. I watched that game too. It was a fun watch. He is I didn't put him in the list of names. I do like Darian Mensah, but I didn't really think of him as being a guy that would be drafted very high. I was thinking he was going to be like a 5th or 6th round project, but like I haven't hated him.
Okay. I just heard some buzz on him. So watch a little bit of tape. I don't know. You're a college guy. And
what's our comp here? Yeah.
What's your comp here? Well, he's too risky to be, I think, a guy that if you want to go quarterback next, I think we should bring up Diego Pavia. I do think that Diego Pavia is going to have to land in the correct situation, but he's been a dog at quarterback this year. And there's just something about now in the NFL, they're not really looking for these elite passers. They're just looking for these guys that can be, I mean, Baker Mayfield's a passer, but they at the same time, like he's kind of a running guy that he throws his body at things. Same with Drake May, same with Jackson Dart. And I think Diego Pavia is probably in the same vein as those guys, and that might boost his stock. He's going to be in New York for the Heisman Trophy ceremony for what he's done this season. And
his mom thinks he should get it.
His mom 100% thinks he should get it. I think a little differently, but whatever. I can't knock what he's done this season. So I don't know. Diego Pavia might be a guy that we should put up here. He definitely is a character.
I want to see that train in the NFL.
I think it's time to talk about the jersey behind you. Is Mater going in this draft with us, or are we not doing no Mater?
Hell no. He is going back to school. There is no way. That hand injury has been one of the most detrimental things to a career I've seen in a long time because he has been hot ass. So we're not doing Mateer this year. It'll be next year if he comes out, unfortunately, for me. But I don't know. Maybe he turns it around this offseason, gets healthy, and comes back. But, yeah, not going to be this season.
Okay. Figure we talk about it. We're talking about some quarterbacks, late rounders here, you know?
Yeah, truthfully, like, there might be some more run. Like, the next time we do this exercise, we'll have a lot more quarterbacks to talk about because we'll know who's actually coming out and who's not. But at this point, like, I don't know. Like, it's such a crapshoot at running back. But there's definitely some running backs and wide receivers I think we should talk about. And a couple of tight ends. The next one,
Kaytron Allen.
We can do Kaytron Allen. That's solid. Let's do it.
He's a power guy. Like, I don't think he's going to get you a whole lot of explosive plays, but he could definitely be a touchdown guy in the NFL. So, I want to see it.
Yeah, I mean, him with Singleton, it's been like thunder and lightning, and there's been games where it's all Kaytron Allen, like not Singleton at all. So, like, I definitely think there's a world where he's very solid. I think he's more, like you said, a goal line guy. But, I mean, he's run for 200 yards this season in a game. Like, that's happening. He's gone for –
that's what we said about Brian Robinson, too, and he's been pretty good for his career. I mean, and done more than the typical goal line work.
No, that's true. That's not a bad –
for a second, I was like, nah, so about that comp.
I said pretty good. I didn't say great. I mean – he wasn't really highly drafted anyway.
Can we add Kaytron to the list of awesome names in this class? Because
it really does make a Tron act. The Tron really gets me. Is what gets me here.
Kaytron's solid. Look, he's run for 1,500 yards this season. If that's your goal line back in the NFL, I think you could do a whole lot worse. So I definitely think you're right, Joe. He needs to get some love here because he's more than just a touchdown guy. He can be your running back too.
He can be a dude.
He could be a dude. Okay. I think we need to bust off a couple wide receivers here just because I think they're names that are going to be up there. Ian Strong from Rutgers, I think is a guy that we need to mention. He would have not been above Chris Bell, but with Chris Bell's injury, I think Ian Strong is going to show a lot more at the combine. He's a really good point of the ball, attacking wide receiver. Rutgers is not a good football program by any stretch of the imagination. He's probably going to be the most memorable one since Ray Rice, but maybe for different reasons.
I'm making an executive decision.
Chuckle there, Joe.
I love
LaNorris Sellers needs to be drafted at this point, unless anyone disagrees strongly.
Okay, yeah. Pick 11, round 2. LaNorris Sellers can definitely go here. I'm not positive he's going to come out this season. However, if somebody really believes that they can take him and he can, develop instead of just throwing him out there, then I think that's the way to go. However, somebody's going to fall in love with him and he's going to have Anthony Richardson syndrome. Although I don't think there's anything that LaNorris Sellers did this season that could make you think he's going to be even as good as Anthony Richardson was right off the tape. Like I don't see.
I think at the end of the day, even if he's not what we think he could be or whatever, it wasn't as good as last year. The mobility aspect, someone's going to draft him, and NFL and fantasy. Everyone's looking for the next big running guy, the next Lamar.
He
Jackson.
is a running quarterback, so like literally that is something you can. I mean, Diego Pavia is too, but like these guys can get you some points on the ground, so that is a solid attribute to have. And again, we're like at a crossroads with quarterbacks because like we're kind of at the limit of who. I mean, literally, somebody went and got Phillip Rivers this past weekend. That can't happen. So, like, we've got to start getting some of these guys in and developed so that they can actually play meaningful downs. And that could be a guy like LaNorris Sellers if he decides to come out this season.
It honestly shocks me each year how many quarterbacks actually end up starting a game in the NFL, and it is way more than I expect every year.
Yeah,
Can we talk about the Phillip Rivers thing for 2 seconds?
Sure.
Because you cannot tell me that there is not a practice squad quarterback out there that isn't more useful or deserves a shot than Phillip Rivers at 44 years old.
Yeah, you got this team that has been built to make it to the playoffs. All you got to do is win a couple games, right? Maybe 3. Yeah. Can you not get any quarterback out there?
I mean, there's got to be an XFL guy. The only thing I can think is that Shane Steichen and Phillip Rivers are like best friends and that they both know. Apparently, they get on phone calls and like talk all the time. And maybe it's just like, hey, could you come in and run this offense for like 2 weeks while Riley Leonard gets healthy? That has to be what we have going on here. And I can't really see why else you would bring him in.
It's fascinating. I cannot wait to see it, and I'm praying
on the Cincinnati Bengals practice squad. They could pick him up.
Or sure.
Zappy's out there. Sorry, all right.
Well, yeah. Well, again, a lot of XFL players too. That I don't know why we can't just bring them in for 1 week. All right, let's get into the round 2, and I think we just take Chris Bell. Well, I was going to say let's just take Chris Bell.
We did call it Chris Bell.
I think Chris Bell should go here. Look, he's a first-round caliber wide receiver that unfortunately is hurt and not going to participate in any combine stuff. However, I mean, he still will get taken in maybe the second round. I don't think like he's got burst that is going to be a bit of an issue coming back from the ACL. But I think once he gets fully back up to stuff, that's the issue here, right, guys? Like when you tear an ACL in November, you're cooked for pretty much all of the next season. And then the burst sometimes takes a while to come back after that. So like with the guy like Chris Bell who needs that burst, like it might be a couple of years before you see him be 100% what you drafted. But you're taking this guy basically hoping that you can stick him on your practice squad and then he can just get back there. Taxi squad, not practice squad. Not bad.
Same concept.
Oh, especially for how physical he is, it might take him a little bit to trust that coming off of the ACL.
For sure. All right, Joe, you can have first pick, third round.
All right, I got to get Omar Cooper.
Okay.
Out of Indiana. That catch alone that he had 3 or 4 weeks ago puts him in the conversation for me for fantasy. He's had a couple good ones. He had a good one against, was it Purdue? He had a really sweet catch. They slaughtered Purdue, so that's not saying much. But do like the kid and very intrigued from a fantasy perspective.
I love it. Can I take one?
Yeah.
I don't have anything to add.
I know. I just love waiting to see what you're about to say.
Now I could be wrong once again. Justice Haynes. Is it about time for him?
We could do Justice Haynes. Yeah. He is the Michigan running back that I was talking about earlier. I've liked Justice Haynes. The only thing I'm concerned about at this point is maybe him coming back to school because he did get hurt. So like they may redshirt him, but if he comes out, he's been a solid running back for a lot of years here. And I think that he would fit in with whatever scheme. So I do think he is a solid guy to take this late.
I was gonna say, I feel like it's about that time, right?
It is.
Can I tell you my comp for him?
Yeah,
okay,
absolutely.
Joe. Yes.
Because a lot of people are very high on him, and I watched a fair amount of his tape, and he reminds me of a guy that we're very familiar with here on the show, Zach Stacy.
Ooh.
Okay. Former Colt. Yeah.
So we just need to figure out if his mental health's there as well.
Hopefully it is.
We're bringing up all the canceled running backs that have ever happened. Third pick, round 3, we should take Jacoby Lane from USC.
Yeah, I think it's time.
A lot of size there. 6'4", 191 is what his college says. He's probably a little bit skinnier than that, I would think. I think they probably bulked those numbers up a little bit. But again, you take a guy that's 6'4", he adds a lot of size. I don't think he's going to be the one. He may not even be the 2 on a team, but I do think you could add him to another, like a team like San Francisco, for example. You could add him to that team, and he gives you a nice piece that can catch some touchdowns for Brock Purdy, like that, for example.
Fair enough. And they need somebody on that team on the wide receiver room.
Yes, they do. I feel like we should go back to the tight end room, is what I'm thinking. Let's go Max Klare from Ohio State. This guy is more of a run blocking tight end. However, he has shown that he can get yards and short yardage. I do think he's going to be a starter from day one. My concern is that he gets put on a team. We kind of get hyped up that he got drafted like in the second round, and then he ends up mostly just being like Darnell Washington's been, where it's like, oh, he's an extra lineman. And that, like, I'm concerned we have him. He's not as freakish as Darnell Washington was. I want to preface it by saying that. However, he might just be a guy that's primarily used as another extra lineman rather than an actual tight end. But he's going to be on the field enough, and he has shown some chops to catch the ball. So I do think that is something, at least.
Absolutely. I
agree, Billy.
It might be a tight end.
I love when we get to this point.
I'm so out. I'm trying here.
Just an intriguing guy that I found. Duce Robinson from FSU. 6'6", 225.
I do like Duce.
He could switch to a tight end role, possibly, which would be pretty cool. But if he stays at wide receiver, kind of the same argument with Jacoby Lane. Just get a tall guy and throw him the football.
Do we got Duce in our draft pool here?
Yep.
We do. He's drafted, man. I like it. I like him. Everything about him.
Again, I love this point in the draft when Josh is like, I have no idea who these people are or what their names are.
I'm looking at it from an analytics perspective. My man got his shot this year at Florida State and took it.
Love that. All right. Next name I want to add is Zachariah Branch from Georgia. He's kind of a Swiss Army knife, kind of always was that. He was like, when he was first year at USC, thought he was going to be special. I thought he was like going to be one of the best wide receivers in like college football history. Cause like literally he would run a touchdown back on a punt return and then catch like a 68-yard pass on the next down. And it'd be like, holy shit, this kid is insane. But it kind of went off the rails from there. He and Lincoln Riley had a really not great season his sophomore year. And then he transfers to Georgia. Georgia has not really shown like much competency moving the ball with their quarterback, so he's kind of just not been able to show what he's able to do. I do think if he ends up in the right scheme, I do think he could be a guy that an offensive coordinator would love to have to just deploy in whatever way.
I know it's too early to talk, but Nate Frazier, is he like the real deal for next year? The running back for Georgia?
I do think so. I do worry with some of these guys like Nate Frazier, like I'm thinking of like the guys that have been at Tennessee the past couple of seasons where they're just like, it seems like they're like a machine, and then they get to the NFL and it's like, okay. Like it's okay. It's just not, it's not what we thought it was going to be.
I mean, for what Georgia is, their offense does not look great.
No, not at all. And it's mostly because their quarterback is just okay. He's not great. So it starts there and just kind of trickles down to everyone being affected by that. But I don't know. It could be better. I don't know. I'm starting to worry about some of these guys where it just looks like they're machines, and then it's like, well, they were just a part of offensive line
organization. That's awesome.
Yeah, basically. Okay.
So Jonah Coleman time.
It is Jonah Coleman time. I cannot speak to what happened to Jonah Coleman this season. I don't think I watched enough Washington to understand how week 1 we started out with like a 200-yard rushing game, and then slowly haven't done any of that since. This is one where it's like I'm gonna have to research more on why he went from his big. Maybe he was hurt. I don't know, but again, started out the season with like a 200-yard rushing game, and then he got like 400 yards for the last 12 of his games, which ain't good. Ain't good at all.
He did do some work in the receiving game, at least.
Yeah. Which is solid.
But still, yeah, no, weird.
Yeah, very strange. Okay, let's add
He looks
a couple
good,
more
man.
names
He's
on
good
here.
vision. It's a guy I watched.
I mean, you're not wrong there. And again, well, like his highs are really high. I just like don't know why we hit lows as low as we got for a little while. Okay, let's add a couple more on here. Let's do another one of my favorite names, Hollywood Smothers from NC State. Yeah, that is the name that he's chosen to go with. He's been a really
be a better cornerback or something. You know what I mean? Smothers the competition.
Oh, that's true.
But it's fine.
He chose the wrong profession.
He did.
Yeah,
well,
he
right
does.
Profession, wrong position. Something like that.
His parents must have just like tried him out at different positions, and they're just like, I guess he's gonna have to end up being. I guess he's gonna have to end up being that guy. I don't know. Yeah, he started at Oklahoma. Weirdly enough, started at Oklahoma. I mean,
there's the connection.
I mean, he was not like an actual guy for Oklahoma, so I don't want to even make it say that. But yeah, he's been solid the past couple of years. Put up almost 1,000-yard season for them this season. It's been up and down at times, but I do think he's going to get drafted pretty high so that he can get, 4th, 5th round guy. But he's going to get a chance. It's kind of where we're at this point in the draft because some of these guys are just going to be late.
This is when I just start grabbing running backs, to be fair, in fantasy drafts because I'm like,
he's kind of a receiving back, right? So that could be really good for your strategy, Josh. So.
I do love a good receiving back.
Yeah.
He smothers the ball. All right. Let's go Antonio Williams from Clemson. We'll grab him next. Boring name, not boring results from Clemson. I feel like we've had a bunch of Antonio Williams. That name seems like it's been very familiar. But he's been solid for Clemson. Clemson's not been a very good offensive team the last couple of years, but he's been the one bright spot, I would say. When he's not playing, it's markedly worse. And, yeah, I think he's a good guy to take this late. You guys have any more? Well, Josh, I know you're cooked. Joe, you have any more you want to throw in here? Or you just want me to finish her out?
My only thing is I feel like there's got to be another quarterback to throw in here.
I want to do my Duke kid, man.
Darian Mensah?
Darian Mensah, yeah.
Okay. I mean, if you want to type it out, Josh.
Boo. I'll do it. How do you spell him? Not like that.
I don't know. Just know his
you look
name.
close. Yeah, actually, Josh, that might be dead on. Right
Position?
there.
Quarterback.
Okay. I figured.
DARIANMENSAH.
Nailed it outside the caps lock on, but that's on me. Now he's in our pool.
Well, I don't.
He didn't come to our pool.
I don't know. I love this for you, Joe. I don't know.
You know what? Wasted all that time for that. And we're just gonna manually put him in.
That works.
It's not pretty, but it works.
There's a couple other quarterbacks that could go a little higher, like Garrett Nussmeier from LSU, even though he has been just horrible, mostly due to injury, but it has just not been near what anyone's wanted this season from him. So that's been kind of sad.
Who's this?
No, I don't have them. I'm just saying.
Oh, sorry.
No, we can bust through the rest of these real quick.
My bad.
No, you're good. Let's go Tanner Koisel from Houston.
Great name.
Good tight end. Good, even better name. And then let's end it with Desmond Reed from Pittsburgh.
Oh, tight end finish. I like it.
Desmond Reed is not a tight end. He is actually a running back, and he is a pass catching and a decent running back from Pittsburgh. Just is what it is. He's not had the year that we thought he was going to have. Actually made a fantastic trade in Devi by trading him away and then him being taken by somebody else, which was just fantastic. But yeah, no, this is kind of the board as it looks right now. Obviously, a lot of these names are probably going to change as we go along here. Quarterback, I think, is the most interesting one just because I don't know who else is going to be out there. Like LaNorris Sellers, is he actually going to go or not? I know we drafted him.
Is
Dante
Arch
Moore
Manning going? Gotta ask those questions.
He could technically declare. Garrett Nussmeier with LSU, even though he's been just complete and utter garbage this season. Yeah, I don't know. I just don't know if I believe it. Joe, I like your Emmett Johnson pick. I think he's been overlooked quite a bit because he plays at Nebraska with baby Mahomes. But I think I like it, Joe.
When is baby Mahomes up for draft?
Technically next year. He's going to transfer this season because he's not been good. So, sadly.
There's real Mahomes, so at least he's with him. Should have followed some other tape, but, here we are.
No, he went that direction. Okay, this is our mock draft real quick. I will read off the first round just so the audience has, can remember. Jeremiyah Love, running back, Notre Dame. I think he's a solid 101. Jordyn Tyson, Carnell Tate, both going to get taken in the first round of your draft. Fernando Mendoza, I think, has a clear shot at being the number one pick in the draft. Quarterback needy league right now. Makai Lemon was the 5th pick, first round draft pick. LeVeon Moss and Nicholas Singleton were picks 6 and 7. Pick 8 was KC Concepcion. 9, Elijah Sarratt from Indiana. 10 was Denzel Boston from Washington. 11 was Kenyon Sadiq from Oregon. And 12 was Ty Simpson from Alabama. This is going to be an interesting draft. I think that if you have a 2026 pick and you don't get one of these top 5 guys, you might punt and get a 2027 pick. I think that pick's going to be a slightly bit more valuable because Jeremiah Smith's sweepstakes is going to be available next season. So I think that's going to be a guy that you're really going to want to pick. And there's a lot more guys in the 2027 draft, especially wide receivers and quarterbacks that are going to be available that I think are going to have quite a bit more value. But look, we have to get excited for this, guys. It's 2026 draft. This is one of the things that we as a collective love.
I enjoyed learning the names.
In my veins. Sorry, Josh.
The veins.
Just excited about learning these names. The audience learned some of these names. I learned some of these names. They might have already known more about these names than I did. And, we'll get there. I'm still in fantasy football season mode. And then, once we get there, we'll get there.
For sure.
Can't wait for college football playoffs, though.
Yeah, it's going to be exciting. Got 10 days. 2 things at the end here. First, did you all see that the NFL draft is moving the first round picks from 10 minutes a pick to 8 minutes a pick?
I did. Looking forward to.
I love that for us.
30 minutes of our lives back.
Hell yeah! The thing's been doing like a 3.5 hour thing. Now it's going to be. Yeah. Oh, it's going to be solid. I couldn't have been more excited for an announcement than that when we have the first pick in the draft and it takes 10 minutes to get to
I was just going to say
pick.
the same thing.
And it's what? Even I think the first 5 should all be chalk unless you're doing trades. Just you knew who you were going to pick. If this person got picked, you were going to go to this pick. You knew what you were going to do.
I feel like it's the hype that the NFL puts on it. I think they will still take all of the 8 minutes of all of those first 10 picks because that's just it's part of what they have planned to talk about with the announcers. But it's if I was an NFL GM, I'd be like, can't believe Cooper Jean's there. I'm going to take him. And then it'd be the pick is, and not to mention they even say the pick is in 5 minutes before the pick. And it's
that's true. The pick is in, and then they wait 4 or 5 more minutes. Yeah, you are correct before they actually
it's a show because they don't want it to be a 30-minute performance. They got all these ads sold and stuff. I mean, I get it, but at the end of the day, you don't need to take 10 minutes on the first pick.
Damn it, do they have us hooked every year?
They do.
I'm watching.
And then we got to learn about their entire life every time they get drafted. And
yep. family member jaywalked once 15 years ago.
And
we've
then
got
They always say
that.
some real fucked up shit about one of the players too.
They
It's like,
really
why would
do.
you even leave that in there? Like,
Steve's
Yeah.
dad left as a child and then murdered.
Oh, it's the infamous.
It's like, dude, what?
I'm pretty sure it was T. Higgins was like the infamous one where they like went in on his mother. It was like, okay, like go on. We don't need to. What are we doing here? Don't need to mention all that. No need for any of that. Next week on the pod, if you have made it this far, thanks. We appreciate it. Next week on the pod, we are going to do first round of the NFL mock draft. I'm not sure if PFF has it all in there or not yet. We're just going to go on the flow, go with the flow. Honestly, I think we don't normally do these until January. Not even sure who they're going to have in there as far as like the prospects. But you know what? We're going to throw caution into the wind. I've done one of these already, so I know it's possible. I did one just to kind of like track my progress through like start of the NFL season. I'm going to do one here in a couple days, and then I'm going to do one as we go along, see how close I can get each time. So I know it's a possibility. I don't know how accurate it's going to be, but whatever. That's why we do these things for fun. And then we are going to take 2 weeks off, and we won't be back until January 7th. Will be the next podcast after next week. So if you don't hear our voices or see our names pop up on the podcast feed, don't worry. We will be back. We are just taking a couple weeks off. Yeah, Joe's alive. We're all alive. We didn't just decide to give up and get mad at each other and quit everything.
I'm pretty mad at all of you, but it's fine.
We record these on Wednesdays. The Wednesdays are Christmas Eve and New Year's Eve. We're not going to record on those days, just full disclosure. So we're not going to figure out a different day to try to figure out how to get some content out.
I will say I do love our group chat when we're trying to figure out one of us can't miss. Should we try to push it or should one of us just bail? And like, what should we do? It's so dysfunctional, and I love it. I love it. Because we're like, no, I'm good. It's whatever. It's fine. Or it's like, or Tuesday. It's like, no, Tuesday doesn't work for me. Okay, well then we're going back to Wednesday.
Pretty much those conversations are exactly why I just told Fancy Six Pack guys, I was like, hey, we're just gonna not do one for 2 weeks. And to be fair, they said they're probably not gonna back off on content too. So more power to all of us, I guess. But yeah,
it's so the holidays. Go win your championship instead of listening to us. You should know what to do.
Mostly just don't want people to think that the podcast is ending just out of nowhere. 2 weeks off. Fine.
We usually
doing this for 5 years. We're not going to stop now.
Billy finally gave us the holidays off. It's honestly great.
That's true. It's we had to work 3 years or 4 years to get there, but we finally got there. We're giving the holidays off. So anyway, that's what we got for this week. Thank you all for tuning in. Joe, get us out of here.
Good night.